Do you feel like you have to lean back?
Yeah, it's like I got to lean back, but also it's sitting right in front of the monitor, so it kind of just gets in the way of looking at your face and stuff.
Oh, I see.
It's just a visual distraction in my field
Yeah.
of view kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking in a different place. Yeah, like if I were to look here directly into the camera, I'm not looking at you on screen, so it just looks like I'm always distracted.
I used to be worried that, like we're trying to do this podcast and I'm trying to figure out, we're trying to figure out different ways to improve it and stuff. So you pay attention to other clips and stuff you see. And I realized, I was like, no one's ever actually looking at the camera.
Right.
In any clip.
I think, and maybe this is a TV show thing, but some say it's like aggressive to look directly into the camera, which is why, like in movies and television, it's so rare, I think
do it like a... Sorry, go ahead.
I think of talking heads, they call it. So like Office and Modern Family, I think were really big for that. I'm sure there's some others that are too, but those are like the two off the top of my head. So that would be like an appropriate time, I guess, for people to look at the camera. But otherwise, I think it's too much. Because if I'm looking at the screen, it kind of denotes I'm looking at you.
Yeah, whoever you're speaking. Yeah.
Exactly. Right? Because when we upload this to YouTube and whatnot, I'm not talking to the listeners. If I was talking to the listeners, I feel like I'd be like, hey, what up? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a little creepy when you look right at it. Right. Yeah, no, and I guess really the long story short is I expected it to be more problematic than it was. Because everything you just said is the reason it just took me a lot longer.
It makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't have to worry about it as much.
Yeah.
Or rather, I don't have to worry about it at all.
Oh, that too, I suppose. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Everything will just happen on its own. Yeah.
It'll all sort itself out. Mm-hmm. The budget will balance itself, as they say.
I mean, hasn't it?
I think so. I don't really see any problems.
The budget will balance itself in 70 years.
I can't figure out if we're just screwed as a country right now, or if the next federal election... Actually, fun fact, this year is a huge year for elections worldwide. Apparently there's something like 64
internationally.
Nations, have some sort of an election going on.
Whoa.
Yeah, so like...
It's insane.
Probably it's like 2025 is going to be interesting with all these people changing all their country's laws and shit.
Speaking of voting, on our drive this weekend, I saw something that made me cringe so bad. And it was a Pierre Poilievre sign for 2025. And it said, "Make Canada Great Again."
Ugh.
Yeah.
That cannot be a party-approved slogan.
I certainly hope not. It just made my skin crawl. I was like, is this for real? Like, I don't care which party's presenting that slogan at this point. It's not right.
No.
Like, ew. And for those who may be living under a rock, it's a reference to Trump's election slogan, which is "Make America Great Again." And, I don't want to get too deep into the politics, but, like, I think by matching slogans, you're trying to align yourself.
You can't not make the association.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like it can't be a party thing, because...
Why would they be riding off the coattails of an American election slogan?
And I feel like "Make America Great Again," regardless of where you fall on sort of the political spectrum, it means Trump. And then as soon as you hear the word Trump, all logical thought goes out the door. No one can process that stuff reasonably. So if Poilievre's intentionally doing this, I think interesting is a very good way, a very good way to put it.
Diplomatic way of saying it, yeah.
Hang on, I'm just sending the link to a few people here because we're live.
Yes, dude. We up in here alive.
Oh, you know what? I want to post it on our Instagram.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that'll get some traction. On the stories. Do they still do stories? I hadn't actually listened to the intro portion of our episode for a while. And there's a part where you go, do this. I can't do this without the kids and Cassie enabling me to do this. Anyway, you just said, I just got to figure out how to do this. And I was like,
oh, that's where your brain went, yeah.
I was like, just like in the theme intro.
I wish I had better things to say for the theme intro. Oh my
god. I'm sure we do now. I feel like at the time that I made that intro, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of like maybe 40 episodes.
Okay.
So there was far less to choose from. We have almost double now. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah.
Sorry, I am listening. I'm just also.
No, he's also the technological.
Don't say that. If you say it out loud, then it's real, and then I have to.
Then you have to. Oh, okay.
I'm just trying my best.
You are acting technical director for the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Acting technical director. I'm vice president of technical operations at WeMadeItPodcast Inc.
The assistant to the regional technical director. Did you see the TikTok of the mom who dressed her 2-year-old son as Dwight?
Yes. Yeah.
And she comes around the corner and he's dressed like a business person. She's like, he's assistant to the regional manager. It made me laugh so much. He's got the big funny glasses and everything. So good.
Yeah, it was a really cute one. They did a really good job because the suit was the same color, the shirt was the glasses. Actually, I want to know now if they got the watch, the same watch that Jim got for his.
Question.
Okay, I can't figure this out. I don't have a fucking picture to put on this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just post the link on Instagram. I need something to post it onto. I just don't have a.
Can you create one? Sometimes they let you do that. You can select like sometimes boomerang or I thought create was an option, and then it just gives you kind of like a colored or various backgrounds you can choose from.
Yeah.
If possible. And honestly, I realized I've become rusty in my Insta knowledge because so you're taking a picture and all I see is prison Mike.
Well, this is working perfectly.
Excellent.
Prison Mike says, "Come check out our live show."
Oh man, too good. Just crazy. Prison Mike. We are getting with the podcast.
Okay,
so
we're good.
I realized. So I was telling Jordan this. I do this thing. I won't say when I'm bored because I don't think it's when I'm bored, but in different situations, sometimes I'll just start making a song about the situation.
Okay.
So like sometimes I'll be making breakfast, say, and if the kids are talking to me and they're not listening, sometimes I'll just like turn it into a song. Be like, I cannot help you because I'm making your toast. And like it's not a song.
Oh yeah.
But I just like it's a means for me to try and get my message across when I'm not feeling heard, I think.
Yeah.
But then I realize sometimes I do it just like in random instances throughout life. And I noticed last week that Isla does this too.
Yeah.
And normally I'd feel really cringy when I recognize something about my kids that is of mine.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh no, I've passed this along to you. But I found that one kind of cute. I was like, I'm okay with you singing your way through life. This is going to be great for you. And especially with her cutesy little voice.
Yeah, that's so true.
Mm-hmm.
How was your camping trip?
Oh, fabulous. We did it.
We did
I
it.
feel like so
we made it.
It's like this podcast I heard about that goes by the same name, I think. Anyways.
I'm listening.
So there we had built our sort of trajectory based on what was available through Algonquin Park for the weekend, because as you know, the sites get booked up, and sometimes you can't stay on a lake on one night, but you can on the next night. So we kind of ran into this thing where we were like, okay, well, let's do this trajectory because these sites are available here, and this is like a doable kind of thing. And the plan, do you want me to get right into the like,
oh yeah, for sure,
the deets? I actually, okay, show and tell. I made this little map, which Jordan was saying I put it in a big Ziploc, right, so that it stayed dry.
Yeah.
And this is more for me because I need to know what we're doing and where we're going, or else my anxiety flares. So I like wrote out in words, like, start at this lake, paddle to this portage for this distance, then go to this, like, then you're at this lake, and then whatever. But I feel like my pièce de résistance is this lovely
yes,
creation where I marked with asterisk the starting point, and then came down here, and then I actually wrote out, this will probably look backwards, right? So for those watching, you can't read it.
It's proper. I can read it.
It's proper. Okay. On my own screen, it's reversed, so that must just be because. Anyways, technology, and so yeah, this was our first night. On Lawrence Lake, we accessed through Rock Lake, and then we did this big loop. We saw Devil's Razor, which was a cool. Oh my gosh, why does the word escape me? Landmark, if you will. And then we looped back around, and then we actually ended up staying on Lake Louisa, but like up here.
Right.
The last night, and then paddled back out. So for those just listening, like, we did, I think Jordan worked it out, 17K the first day. Like between paddling and portaging. And then the second day we did in the 20s or low 30s, high 20s, low 30s, something like that. And then the last day we did 11K. In total, it worked out to 53 for the whole trip, which I didn't realize. Because I think if you had said 53K to me initially, I would have said no thanks.
Yeah, it feels
hard pass. That sounds like a big number. Right, yeah. And I think like that was the honest calculation, because that's like through what his watch told him we did for distance. And we did have to do a little back and forth the last night, so literally last night, because it was a busy lake, and so the couple sites that we had kind of had in our heads to choose were taken, and it ended up being better because the sites that we thought we wanted were pretty bare, because they were the sites near portage, so they kind of like naturally get used
They go
more, I
fast,
think.
yeah.
And we had, I don't say we had to, we ended up making our own site because we were running out of daylight. Like we had probably another hour of daylight left. And the night previous to that took longer than we thought it would. So we were like, we don't want to arrive at our site like at dusk.
Yeah.
So let's just go up on this rock. And like Jordan scoped it out. He's like, there's already a fire pit here. Clearly people have made a camp here, whether it is a camp officially or not. It wasn't indicated, but then we also realized like the night before, the campsite we stayed at on the map was mislabeled. So we were like, it's not an official site, but we're taking it. Sorry, Algonquin Park. And so what was really nice is that wood was very abundant, because when the busier campsites get used, obviously more people collect the wood and deadfall and stuff around it. So you end up like, I don't say being short of supplies, but kind of.
Yeah.
And the spot that we set up our tent, although it was like on a down, not incline, a slope. Decline. Thank you. Oh my god. Can you tell I've
You
been
are
in the
tired.
sun
It's
all
okay.
day?
It's been a weekend.
Decline, and just like my brain function. It was really spongy because there was like a heavy amount of like moss and pine needles and stuff. So that was really nice. And like judging by the state of the fire, we figured there probably hadn't been somebody there since maybe spring, early summer at best.
Right.
But like it had been used this year for sure. So I was like, okay, I'm feeling good about this one. And we kind of figured that's probably when areas get overcrowded like that.
Yeah.
When we finished our paddle out, we saw a couple sites that seemed like nobody was there, but they also easily could have been up and gone before us.
Okay.
It's always hard to tell, right? Like, did somebody stay at that site last night or not? Like, I'm not about to become a detective and figure that out, but just out of curiosity, I feel like we were trying to gauge whether or not those sites would have been available had we wanted to continue paddling or whatever. But anyways, again, I feel like we were more focused on setting up a fire on time, more or less.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't want to.
Yeah. Everything else is doable in the dark, but
yeah,
trying to get a fire going when it's dark out is not fun.
Yeah, and it was mainly just the collecting wood, like scoping out
And that's
where
what
there's
it is.
deadfall and whatever. Yeah, so
otherwise you're walking around just ripping dead branches off of trees and
right, yeah,
hoping you have enough for the night.
Yeah, that part I kind of took upon myself. So like, Jordan just was like, "I'll set up the tent." I was like, "I'm gonna go collect branches," and so we did. And I haven't tasked myself with that before, so it was kind of like a new thing that I got to try. So I was like pretty jazzed about getting to like be the wood collector, because I feel like when you go on these trips, everybody wants to help in their own way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like naturally people will go with whatever their strengths are. This isn't or wasn't my strength. Anyway,
well,
so it was nice to try something different.
You realize too, because it can be intimidating, having done too many on your own. But you realize like there's
this is only my second like portage trip here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and there's discomfort at times, but by and large, it's all doable. It's just sweaty and hot sometimes, or your back might get a little sore in the canoe for extended periods of time. And it's weird too, because when you're on the portage, you're like, oh man, I can't wait to get in the boat. and then you get in the boat, and on the long
Yeah.
paddles, you're like, fuck, I cannot wait to get to a portage.
Yeah, you're
So
like,
it
just
kind
get me
of,
out of here. Yeah.
you get, well, I won't say fed up, but you get bored of each mode just in time to get to the next one, which I think is kind of funny, but helpful.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, the exit today felt shorter than when we went in, which, like, I guess technically it was by a few kilometers, but the actual portage, like last portage, last paddle, were the same.
Oh, okay.
And I remember we were near the end, but for whatever reason in my head, I thought, oh, I think there's about 15 more minutes from this sort of like, they set up like, it's a very well traveled area. So they have like those man made sort of bridges to go across some of the streams of water and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I remember going over one and thinking, oh, I think there's about 15 minutes after this one till we get to the water, and then coming over a ridge and being like, oh no, the lake is right there.
Yeah, that's the most. That's the worst part. I've done. It's called Iron Warrior now. It used to be called Iron Man, and it's just one of those endurance competitions. It's in Petawawa.
Sorry, was that to be more inclusive?
I think so.
Sweet. Okay.
Or it was the actual like registered trademark Iron Man.
Oh, maybe it was it tape?
I can't remember which it was, but to be quite honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't check 2 boxes with that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, that's true.
A little bit more inclusive and a little bit less stealing.
Win-win-win.
I don't know what the word is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I think of Michael Scott when you say win-win. Anyway, there's this one section of the route where you're doing a ruck march. It's the first 32 kilometers is just a ruck march, and then this was an older format, so they don't do it the same anymore.
32 kilometers, holy moly.
You come around a corner and you can see it's called the PTT, Pilot Training Tower, I think it stands for. So that's where the helicopter pilots get to do fast rope drops and getting guys on and off helicopters. I've never seen it happen. It just... Anyway, you can see it, and you know that's where your canoe is for the portage. So in your mind, you're like, oh, great, I'm almost there. But the road that you're on that points towards, when you come around the corner, it points towards this tower. It's like slightly angled away from it. So for the longest time, you're walking towards it, but it's not getting any closer to you.
Oh my gosh.
So it's really depressing that way.
Yeah.
But
it's like a mirage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just what you were just talking about reminds me. It's the same feeling. You think you're like, oh yeah, water's coming soon. It's going to be pain.
Yeah. Yeah, overall I feel like this was a really good trip. It was a good trajectory. Yeah. And there were a couple lakes that, you know, we were both like, this is a really nice spot. Like I could see us wanting to come back here and seeing this one again. There are a few kind of like, I wouldn't say bigger lakes, but maybe medium lakes that had only maybe 3-4 campsites on them. So it was nice and quiet.
Yeah.
So the first night we stayed on one of those, and then the last night we stayed on a stupid busy lake, which was a kind of a big access point to other lakes as well. So that's what contributed to it being so busy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys were able to get away and do something a little challenging, but also fun and relaxing.
Yeah, me too.
And doing it alone and without the kids is extra nice, because it's nice to just be the two of you with very, very limited distractions.
Yeah.
And, like, you don't have to talk. You don't have to do anything. You can just sit there and just be, exist, which people don't do anymore.
It's, without distraction, life is full of distractions all the time, right? Whether they're self-made or just in the world.
Yeah.
We are easily distracted, and I feel like it's a good like a really good way to get away. Like you're disconnected, there's no service. So you're kind of forced to just hang out with the people you're with. I feel like, so Jordan was saying when we were on the trip, he's like, I feel like I'm that person who's just talking about all the other cool trips I've done instead of appreciating this one. I was like, I don't think that's true. Like, I love hearing about, because when you go with him and Broom, and sometimes you've gone with Tony as well, your trajectories are so different. Your goal setting is very different. Your expectations of yourselves are very different. So I always like, I never see it as like a comparison, because I'm like, never in my wildest dreams would I do. I think he said the Opiongo paddle was
it was stupid.
17 kilometers or something.
I don't know how long it was, but it took us
epic,
so long. Tony almost died.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
his
like
arms,
he was like seized up.
He looked like he tried to just be a walrus for the rest of the night. Because from his shoulders to his elbows, they were stuck to his ribs.
Right,
and he had like a limited motion up and down and with his hands. Like he had to move his whole body to lean forward and grab something. I felt bad for him, to be honest, because it just sucks to be in pain when, especially after a long day.
Yeah.
I don't think he slept great. His sleeping bag was soaked. Oh yeah, because we right after this, actually, he wasn't even. He said you guys
watched the storm go over you while you were in the lake.
We were the storm. Yeah, there's massive. We should have got off the lake much sooner. It was getting a little dicey, but yeah, this storm went over us, and then Tony's shit got all soaked because he didn't pack it. He didn't pack some things properly. And honestly, we saw it. We should have said something. But by the time we get to the, cars parked, we get to the office, we get everything sorted out, get our canoes, and then get on the water. By the time you see the storm, those two connections are gone. So it sucked for him, but yeah, that Opiongo paddle was a bitch. It was so fucking long.
It was aggressive, yeah. And I was saying to Jordan, like, Tony doesn't, like, he's not at a desk job. He's at a job that is active, where he is using tools and equipment all day. Like, he's not, like, he was, for all intent and purpose, like, ready to take on this kind of challenge. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, I could not. Because, like, I had to actively make an effort. Like, I was walking on our treadmill, like, pretending doing hills, weeks leading up to this, and then going to the gym and using the rowing machine to try and, like, build a little bit of strength for those activities. And I would have been absolutely effed without it. But I was still very, like, I'm old now. I was very sore. I'm so glad I brought Advil.
Well, and there's so many different muscles you're not used to using, and the canoes are not ergonomic. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's no back support while you're. Oh, we should have gave you that chair.
Yeah, it's okay. I like thought about it when we arrived, and I was looking at the canoe, and I was like, I need to think more with my brain. I think, yeah, because like I could have easily asked you for it weeks in advance. You know what I mean?
We all forgot though. Like, don't shoot yourself in the foot over.
Right. Yeah.
How was your sleeping pad? Did it work for you? Did you enjoy it?
So, two things. Jordan's sleeping pad he used for the first time, and I think he said he purchased it because you had recommended it.
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Well, it depends if you liked it or not.
Loved it. It was fantastic. It inflates to like a nice padded.
It's like a thick, like a 3-4 inch.
Yeah, it's thick. Nice. And then he also said it's insulated, which I was like, ooh, that's handy. The first night, the ground we were sleeping on underneath was not our friend. Like, it was quite hard. So the R value of the mattress pad I used, great. However, sponginess could use some improvement. Like, I'd say it's like in the middle. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't what Jordan had, certainly.
But you can see why people enjoy them though.
Oh yeah,
because they keep, so for everyone listening, she's got a one of those like accordion folding thermarest sleeping pads. And it's like yellow on one side and silver on the other.
Yeah.
And so the thing I love about it is how light it is. You can't feel it.
So light. Yeah.
Guys would just strap these to the outside of their ruck, mostly the infantry guys, because they're up and down a lot faster. So they can throw it down, keep themselves much warmer than if they didn't have it. And if they got to get up and go really fast, they don't have to leave it behind. They can pick it up,
fold it up.
Yeah, exactly. Because the ones they give us they're like maybe like an inch and a half thick, and they're self-inflating, which I think is misleading. Basically, the inside of this whatever the outer material is, the inside of this bag is just filled with a giant foam brick, like a sponge.
Okay. So I wondered what that material is, because we've seen pillows like that, mattress pads like that. Like,
yeah.
It's just like some type of foam, basically.
It's some sort of filler, yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, there's no mechanical or electronic parts to make this an auto filling thing. It just you open the valve and then air slowly makes its way in due to physics. And it's like the worst fucking thing ever. They're not warm at all. They're not comfortable at all. Like,
yeah.
They're brutal. You have to blow them up until they're fit to burst before you can even get on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why a lot of people choose that one, because it does everything the other one doesn't.
But yeah, last night the ground was like a lot softer, and I think Jordan felt bad for me, so he's like, just use my mattress pad. And I was like, okay. I'll give this luxurious mattress pad a try. But he said that mine was like great because the ground was soft. So I would say, like, keep in mind how much comfort level you may want with it. If you want more, then I think the one that Jordan has, and I think you have too. Is that the same one you have? Yeah.
The one I have that's the same size as his is not insulated. It's just a regular one. But my insulated one is a luxe, which means it's a little bit wider.
Okay.
So it's just like for the toss and turn, and it's just a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
I got them both on sale, so it doesn't count.
At sale or on sale?
On sale.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah.
So we were talking about like gear that we would like to upgrade for next time. Possibly chairs, but like the chairs that we have are so light.
Yeah, are those
the
Amazon
2-pound
ones?
chair? Yeah. And I was comparing them to other brands, similar make, trying to figure out, like, are they more comfortable? Can I get something that's maybe a better design, but still not too heavy? And the weight increases exponentially.
Oh, man. And the lighter you get, the cost goes up exponentially.
Yes. Well, this is it. Yeah. So for what we paid, it's like $70 for 2 of these chairs on Amazon. I feel like that's pretty great, because all the other ones I've seen are on sale for like $50 or $60 each, and they weigh the same. Some of them have a higher weight capacity, but the actual size of the chair seat is the same. So it's like no difference. You're just like, do you want a name brand on your chair or not?
Yeah.
More or less. And then also pillows is something that we might look into. Do you have a good pillow?
Tricky one, man. So I've got an inflatable pillow.
Yeah.
And it does the trick, but with the inflatable ones, you can't inflate them all the way because then they're just like a brick.
A balloon, yeah.
But it like there's no give to it. If you inflate it all the way,
Oh, I
there's
see.
no
Yeah.
when you put your head down, there's nowhere for the air to disperse to. So it's just hard. So you got to underinflate it, which is fine. And then there's the other ones that are just like compressible. So they've got like down or some sort of synthetic fill. And when you get to your site, you just pull it out and it'll sort of just
pop open.
Yeah, like get some of its loft back on its own. Same thing you do with the sleeping bag when you get to your site. You lay it out, let it open up and breathe a bit, right?
Let it breathe.
But man, I just find pillows tricky. I for work I had just like a rectangular, just because of how close I am to the camera. This will be to scale.
Okay.
So probably like this is quarter scale. Just
like
a regular.
We were measuring stuff.
Pillow.
Jordan was like, yeah, 2 fingers from the right of that red tree up there. I was like, is this our I was like, whose fingers? Like, how are we measuring? I'm like asking for it to be too specific, and he was like, Jenna, just play along. I was like, yeah, okay, got it.
Just do the fucking yeah. Well, actually, that's how the army does it.
Is it?
Well, I mean, it's a great way, right? He points out something big, tells you exactly which distance to the left or right of it, and then gives you another identifier. It's the easiest way to walk someone onto something.
Yeah.
From far away. Anyway, it is kind of interesting when you've never been exposed to it before. I guess like, what the fuck? Whose fingers?
Whose fingers?
2 fingers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we at a bar? I don't understand. Oh fuck! I can't even remember what I was going to say now.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, my pillow. It was just like a thin fucking shitty pillow that it's your spare pillow.
Okay.
Like, in case of emergency. And actually had it folded in half and sewed it shut, so it was just this tiny little
smaller but more plump pillow.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was my field pillow.
Okay.
For so actually I still have it. It's in my bag. But
did your neck get like all kinked up? You're like,
because I really just like prop it between my shoulder and my head, kind of thing.
Okay.
And then after a while, you're just so tired it doesn't matter.
Sure.
But as far as camping goes, I don't like the pillow search because pillows are way more expensive than they need to be for no fucking reason.
It's so interesting because I was looking at, so Climate is the brand of mattress pad that you guys have. KLYMIT.
Yeah.
And they have pillows that, how you were describing, have like a foam. They said it's like a shredded.
Yeah, Broom has one of those.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like picture the foam cubes at like a gymnastics place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all tore up, I guess.
Like shredded pieces of those, shoved in a pillow, and so I'm assuming it does what you were describing, like you compress it and then it fills with air, and when you get there, those are obnoxiously expensive. I think it was over $40 a pillow on sale. I need to double check because I was looking it up on the way home. But then Climate also has, they call it like the Luxe inflatable pillow. I don't know if it's insulated or not, but it has like a soft material on the top that you can remove and wash, which I was like, so fancy. Is this why it is Luxe? But the Luxe is actually also because it's not an X shape inflatable. It has like 2 circles on the bottom, and then like, I can't remember if there's a line down the middle. I don't think there is, but then there's like pockets all around these 2 circles. So it's like almost a rectangular shape with the corners cut off.
Okay.
Quite wide. And then
I'm picturing like an infinity now.
Yeah, more or less.
And like the little pockets are for your head to sit in?
So those go on the bottom, and then on the top it's just flat.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
So the padding comes from behind, if you will. And then the top, I guess, is like...
Yeah, that makes sense, because you can still sink into that depression on the reverse side. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so I was like, but then it's like $100.
It's weird. So yeah,
like, this is plastic.
What you could also do too is get an old shirt,
okay,
and cut it to make a little pillow, and then just stuff it full of more old shirts, and you can have your own compressible pillow. Like,
and you could get at IKEA. I know that they have those foam pillows, so like you could fill it with a foam that compresses, and then
there you go. Yeah,
put it in a plastic bag to travel with, suck all the air out of it.
And I'll say this too:
you could find ways and not spend $100.
I would definitely explore like direct from the manufacturer websites like Temu and AliExpress and stuff like that for some of those items, because
I see
they're all coming from the same spots. They're just different, sometimes different construction, sometimes different quality standards, but generally, a bag that you put air in is a bag that you put air in.
Right?
So the valves will be different, the baffles will be different, the material will be different. So find the one you're looking for, and then try to find the dupe online that's way, way cheaper.
We were actually talking about this because we have a couple headlamps that I just picked up the last time we did a portage trip at the dollar store.
Oh, nice.
And it's just an elastic band with a lamp in the front, and it has 3 settings, which I was like, this is over and above, guys. Wow.
That's pretty standard.
And I thought, right, but like for a Dollarama item, I was like, I figure it'd just be on and off. I bought those, and I figured I'll get my money's worth, even if there's one-time use. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I won't be upset if I lose or break or it falls underwater or whatever, that I've spent too much money on it. And like, we still have them, and we were still using them.
Yeah.
And it made me laugh because I was like, money well spent, I tell you.
Well, a light is a light is a light, I guess, eh?
Yeah, and it made all the difference last night because both Jordan and I needed to do things at the same time in different places, and I was like, this is excellent. Like, duh, we should both have a headlamp, but like, it's a very convenient format and package, as opposed to bringing, like, when we go car camping, it's like ultra lux everything. We have like the Milwaukee flashlight upon Milwaukee flashlight. Milwaukee?
Yeah. Wait, no, it's Makita.
No.
He's probably got both.
Why is my brain blanking? Is it Milwaukee? I'm like...
The red one is Milwaukee?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I was like second
But he's got a Makita one too, doesn't he? It doesn't matter.
He had a radio at one time. Anyway, and like a million batteries and stuff. Like, we're not running out of anything.
Yeah.
But when you're doing these portage trips, it's like what you bring is what you have, and if it goes away, disappears, falls out of your bag, gets left behind, blah blah blah, like, that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wanted to ask, because he was talking about this, what are the highlights of some of your portage trips, and like, what is the coolest wildlife you've seen?
To be quite honest, there might be the same answer. I feel like we were paddling one of the creeks, and at any point, this wasn't on the narrow sections we've been on. It was probably still like 15 to 25 feet across. I don't fucking know. But we came around a corner, and like 60 feet in front of us, I don't know how far away it was, there's a cow moose in the same creek eating. And so we came around. I mean, it's just really cool to see this giant fucking deer in the water. Just, the way they carry themselves too, like, they don't give a fuck about anything. They look at you and they're like, hey, you do you, and we're cool.
Yeah.
And
it's harder for it to charge at you through the water too, which I would like feel a little bit less concerned with, because
I wouldn't feel less concerned in the moment.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd still be shitting. And like they swim, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they can dive to the
Which,
bottom to get tubers and shit. I don't know.
yeah, which seems like physiologically impossible, right?
Yeah,
Because
I
like
don't understand.
the racks they carry around are so fucking huge.
Maybe
I
they
feel
figured out a
like
way to make it like a paddle. They can like
part of
corkscrew their
the
way down to the bottom of the fucking
turn
bottom of the
into a
river.
narwhal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what they're gonna do on the way back up underneath your canoe.
Mm-hmm. And
That's what
lift
I'd
you
be
out.
scared of.
Oh man, that's like a cartoon moment right there for sure. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite moments are because I feel like, well, anytime we get an opportunity to piss off Broom, that's
Mm-hmm.
just always gangbusters with the crowd, you know. So that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like we've shot rapids, we've been up to our chest in water trying to navigate some of these spots.
He said you.
They're
He
they're
said you
not
guys have
awesome.
bushwhacked a bunch.
Oh man, there was one we had to backtrack on the paddle to get to the portage entrance because the sign was so decrepit we couldn't see it. It was so far back, and
Oh.
you know when you're looking at like swampy water, swampy river, swampy stream,
Yeah.
and you can see like the bright green grass that comes right to the edge.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, like that's not always solid ground.
Mm-hmm.
And
Often it's mucky and muddy. Yeah.
yeah, and the grass is tall enough, so we missed the all the wood that was there was like in the ground. You couldn't
Okay.
see it from the water, so we were already pissed off and tired. We had to backtrack over beaver dams and shit like that.
Oh God.
And then we got in there and we were warned, but it was really, it was almost. It wasn't even a brand new portage trail. It was so overgrown that they'd only marked it for where they're cutting.
Oh God.
Yeah, so that was a rough one. That one I
Yeah.
think probably was I just came up with my most favorite moment. Broom falling in the water.
When?
So we came up to this portage and it's one of
Okay,
those
first of
ones.
all, has this happened more than once? And two, was it on that same trip you're discussing that you had to backtrack?
You know, honestly, I can't. It may have been,
Okay.
but I don't know because it all blends for me. All the
Right.
portages, all the
They're all
paddles.
just one trip.
If
Yeah.
I sit down and I look at like Jordan's map with all the routes and stuff,
Okay.
I'll be able to just like put tags on my memories in my brain and organize it all. But
Yeah.
anyway, we got to this one portage, and you know, in the backcountry, they're not prepared. The launches for the portages. So you show up, and the ground is what the ground is. Sometimes you're doing a little bit of climbing to get up out of your canoe, and I remember like our first trip there was a lot of that. Anyway, Broom pulls up and it's all muddy and slippery, and he gets out of the canoe and he does the old gotta stand up and stretch and whatever. And then he goes down and he grabs his backpack or his bag, and he goes to like flip it over onto his shoulders. And I can't remember if he went forwards or backwards, but the momentum of the bag took him and he ended up in the fucking water. It was, I think his canoe fell over too, so he had to like scoop out a bunch of shit from his canoe, and he was fucking soaked and his bag was wet. And obviously, like he's super embarrassed too. I'm not laughing because he's embarrassed. I'm laughing because we'd all feel the same way in the same situation.
So many times I was throwing my bag on, I was like, if I don't have my footing correct in this moment, I'm falling over. Or I'd like lean over to pick up the paddles and I'd be like, nope, this is going to be a squat because I will fall forward into the water if I don't do this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could definitely see how like just in a moment you like let that thought slip.
Yeah.
That you could easily just like tumble
constant
right over.
Vigilance.
Well, this is it. Yeah. Speaking of which, we woke up this morning and Jordan had like a panic moment. He was like, "What is that sound?" And I don't say he never, but it is rare for him to be concerned about sounds in the woods.
False. It is rare for him to make anyone else aware that he's concerned.
He's concerned. Yes, yeah. That's a way more accurate way of describing it. And he unzips the fly so that he can see, and he's looking up in the trees and realizes it's a chipmunk just launching everything off these trees to like get it down on the ground to go collect it later. And he kind of just like started laughing at himself because he was like, oh, it's a chipmunk. He thought the sounds, because it was like so repetitive, and like almost like a clicking sound. He's like, I thought it was like a moose's rack like hitting trees and stuff. And I was like, oh my god. I thought, I hope we would hear the hooves on the ground first, because like they're not lightweight animals. I'd hope you'd hear like the boom, boom. You know what I mean?
I don't think you would.
If they're and that's what he was saying. He was like, well, they're like so delicate when they walk around. Yeah,
really, like they're slow movers. Yeah, they're stealthy in the woods. Like you watch them like turn sideways to get their antlers through shit. You know what I mean?
They know what to do. Yeah, that's why. But yeah, we didn't see moose. We did see moose tracks that he said were probably about a day old, and then I saw a pile of moose dung on the ground.
He didn't tell you how old that was, though, did he?
No. And I was like it looks. Oh my god, what is that from?
I don't know.
There's a movie where Buddy
he like tastes it or something. It's still wet.
Yeah. Tastes animal poop, and he's like, oh,
it's gonna kill me now.
Days old. Is it Ace Ventura?
I don't know.
No. Not convinced.
It might be, but
it seems like a goofy thing that a Jim Carrey character would do.
Yeah, it does. Oh man.
So this came across my my brain.
Okay.
It came across my feed somewhere on the internet recently. And I don't know what we were talking about, but we were talking about the moose being able to swim or not. And it made me think of this. And I looked it up quickly because I wanted to share. So NASA, it says NASA has a poster hanging with bees that reads, aerodynamically, a bee's body is not made to fly. The good thing is that the bee doesn't know. Yeah. The law of physics says that a bee cannot fly. The aerodynamic principle says that the breadth of its wings is too small to keep its huge body in flight. But a bee doesn't know. It doesn't know anything about physics or logic, and it flies anyway. And I was like, and without bees, we wouldn't have the world. So I feel like this is kind of a metaphor for life, if you will. Like, don't let facts get in the way of real. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's more just like, just because a principle or whatever.
Well, yeah.
Not a principle of person, like a law of physics, a principle of whatever, science, logic. Don't let things hold you back.
Yeah, I feel like the inner minds, you think of something and you immediately know the answer. Whether you can or can't, whether it's possible or not, and so that is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I feel like this is gonna sound dumb. I heard someone say bees fly by vibrating. I can't believe I said
interesting. I mean, they do have wings, but I'm not exactly sure, like the exact movement of said wings when they're flying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is so stupid. They don't. Well, you know what's cool? Bees can be trained
to do what?
I mean, sniff out cancer, sniff out drugs at airports, mostly sniffing things.
I don't know if you're being serious or not.
No, I'm being dead serious. So bees can be trained to find these things, and not find them. Test for them is a better way of putting it.
Okay.
So it's just like any other.
What is that process?
They basically tape a bee up, so it's strapped into this thing. They I think they like freeze a beehive or something to slow them down so that they can pick up an individual bee, put it in this fucking harness, and then they expose the bee to a smell, and then they give the bee a reward, which is sugar water. And then they do this, like, I think it's 4 times. And then whatever that smell is, after the 4th time, they can expose the bee to the smell, and it'll stick out its tongue looking for the sugar water because it smelled the
as
thing
an
it's supposed
indicator.
to. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how they can do a swab on someone's hand,
the way
bring
that
the swab into the bee, and if the bee sticks its tongue out, they're like, yeah, that guy's got bomb residue or something. You know what I mean? Same thing with cancer.
So way more accurate than those like weird foamy things they roll on your palms for I don't know what reason.
So those things are just they're just picking up what's on your hands.
Yeah.
All your oils and stuff, but they put it into an ionizer or something like that. And it's looking for specific like atomic makeup, atomic signatures of these things. And
is it as accurate as a bee?
That one is probably more accurate than a bee, just because it's a computer and it knows exactly what to look for.
Okay.
Whereas a bee is I don't know. I don't know how.
So how do people come to discover this? And like, who was the first person who was like, let's train bees?
Better question.
To sniff out cancer.
Who's the first person to get milk from a cow?
Right. Yeah. Did they
like,
try other animals first?
How is that
the cow
person
the first choice?
Well, and you know what? This is going to be another weird one. But you talk about bees shouldn't be able to fly, but they don't know that, so they do. I bet you it was just the guy who didn't know drinking cow from a milk was gross as fuck, and then he realized you can, and now everyone loves him. But
well, he's like, the baby cows do it.
Yeah,
why can't I?
Why can't we?
Yeah.
Or
interesting.
What was the other one? There was so many good ones. Like the first person to hear parrot talk must have been scared as fuck or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's the devil.
It's repeating me. Right. It's true. Okay, sorry. So I googled, can bees detect cancer? Honeybees can distinguish between different lung cancer cell types using only the smell of the cell cultures. These findings could be used as a model for developing new tests to diagnose lung cancer early. This was June 2024.
Yeah, this is not new stuff. This has been around for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess this particular one is 2013. Holy moly. I'm behind the times.
Well, I mean, not many people Google bee smelling topics.
How did you come across this information?
I Googled bee smelling topics. No,
Can you imagine?
I actually saw it in a TikTok. I remember seeing a show about it when I was a kid, but it didn't. If it explained, I didn't understand it.
Okay.
I just happened to be the right age to watch this TikTok and understand all the words they were saying. You know, bee, smell, tongue,
cancer.
These are all easy words.
Oh man. Yes. I lost my train of thought. Oh, we were discussing favorite moments.
The only
animal sightings.
The only other thing I want to highlight from our trips, other than they're all great. I've enjoyed them all, but there was one where it was a really, really, really hot day. And we were starting to get a little concerned for our own health and safety. I won't say safety, but just just health. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
getting hot, so we had to take a break somewhere. And to take a break during the portage is not a break, because you still have the rest of the portage looping over you. There's almost no wind. If it's all greened over, like it
Mm-hmm.
just holds all the heat in, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
bugs, and it's just anyway. Out in the middle of this lake, I want to say it was Hogan Lake. I don't know. This massive rock was just sitting there in the middle of the lake. So we paddled up to it. We tied the boats off, and we just sat on the rock, drank some water, had some snacks, did a bit of swimming. But that just was, it's cool then, and you appreciate it, but you don't realize it till you're looking back. But like, it's a really cool thing to be able to find a spot like that and just be able to enjoy nature and in peace and quiet. And just, I don't know. It was a fond memory, because it was not something you get to do very often, especially on these trips, because generally we're adding more and more. We try to get more done in a day. So to take time to relax is a little harder. So those are some
And like you said, there's like a fondness to it, because odds are good that you're not going to see that spot again, right? Like, you guys are typically, you've chosen different lakes entirely for each of your trips, because you're trying to see as much as you can. And so, the odds are low of like retracing your steps again in the future.
The
However,
odds are zero that we'll ever go back to Opeongo.
Well, Jordan said the exact same thing. He's like, I never want to cross Opeongo ever again in my whole life. And I was like, yeah, I don't blame you. It's such a huge lake. And the unfortunate part is that it's access to so many other lakes, but you would still have to go through it, or
They have
a
a water
huge part of
taxi,
it. Oh, okay.
so you can just strap your canoe to a boat, and they'll take you to whichever arm you're going to.
Okay.
And drop you off, but it's so expensive.
Is it?
It's pretty expensive. I think it would have been a couple $100.
Oh, that
I feel like
seems
minimum.
aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also depressing when you're paddling for that long, because you don't really see the progress with each stroke while you're paddling, and the water kind of makes it look like you're not going anywhere.
And if the wind is coming at you, it really feels like you're going nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because every little bit of progress you make, it pushes you back just that much. And not fun.
Yeah, sometimes you're just sitting there like, fuck me. And you just
Treading
don't
water.
paddle, and the wind turns your canoe around.
Oh, God. Yeah.
That's just the best.
Yeah. Jordan, a couple times, he's like, okay, stop. I'm going to check the map. And I was like, I don't like the direction that the boat is turning it. Like, this is away from where it go. Like, I would just get so frustrated. I'm like, ugh, like trying to move us. At least keep us pointed in the correct.
Were you steering, or were you in the front?
I was in the front.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, don't worry about it.
I'm not a steering person. I feel like I would not trust myself with that job. And also, I don't have the strength. Like, if it's Jordan and I going, he's got the power to...
Yeah. No, it makes... Yeah, sure. I was just curious.
Get us going. Oh, yeah, no, for sure. And then, so we crossed paths with quite a few people. He said that, like, it's the most other people he's ever seen on a trip.
Ooh, interesting.
It was a lot. Like, we came down through Rock Lake, and there's a campground on that lake. So naturally, there's a lot of people just like cruising around on the water. And then when we got out through the next big lake that it's connected to, that one was very busy as well, because it's like easy access to, like, you could easily go in at Rock Lake, portage, go to Lake Louisa, make a weekend out of it, and then go back, right?
Kind of like Grand Lake.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
What was the point I was getting? Oh, we saw so many people. And on a couple canoes, our like second day, our only full day, But yeah, second day, we saw a couple canoes with like dads and their kids.
Okay.
And I think it got Jordan, and it definitely got my mind thinking like, well, we bring our kids on these trips and, you know, at what age and whatever.
Yeah.
And so Jordan was kind of like eyeing them up, and he's like, whatever age those kids are, like that's the age to bring them. And I was like, I think 10 on the low end, like maybe 11 or 12 might be more accurate, like old enough that they can comprehend and understand what's happening, and they're able to like physically pull their own weight fairly well. Because like there was one dad and two sons on one boat. I'm assuming two sons. It could have been his son and like his son's friend, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were three of them on the boat, and then one of them was steering at the back, and then the dad was at the front, and there was another boat kind of with them, but like further away, so we didn't get as good of a look. But same sort of setup where it was like, I think dad's trip with their kids and plus friends perhaps. But yeah, it then if one of the kids gets tired, they can switch.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like you only have one person available to help you, because I'm like picturing, what if Anson gets tired?
But not too
who
tired.
would relieve him? Yeah, but a bit tired.
But not too tired.
Like who could or who would relieve him?
Yeah.
So that the trip could go on, you know what I mean, and not like be held up. And then also, I don't say obviously, but like the distance would have to decrease so that the kids could accomplish this too. So anyways, few things to consider, but I was like, that's kind of exciting that like that's available in the future to do with the kids. And I asked Isla tonight, I was like, would you like to go camping with us sometime and paddle a boat? And she was kind of like, I'll go with you. But I don't think the paddling the boat. I think the paddling the boat part, she was kind of like, I'm not so sure about what that entails. So anyway, it was cute though, because I was like, she's already like forming ideas about
how to get what she wants without doing the hard parts.
Paddling boat. Not so sure. Who am I with? Tell me. I feel like she'd have to have a little bit more intel about
comprehension.
Who's all there.
Yeah. And what paddling means.
And paddling too. This foreign activity. Oh yeah, I just noticed there's some activity in the chat.
Yeah, we had someone commenting. I think we'll have to wait till next week for this, but he's talking about homeschooling versus traditional schooling.
Ooh, I love that topic. Okay, I'm gonna put this in my notes for next episode.
Yeah, homeschooling versus public school.
Podcast topics. That's a good one. Thank you. Can I say who suggested that, or is that going to be?
There's no name. It's just the account of like his YouTube channel.
Cool. Okay.
Effective Listening is what he's called. So if anyone wants to check him out.
Thank you. Effective Listening. Yeah, that'll be a good one. There's some good resources where we live for sure for that.
That's what he's saying. So anyway, we'll try to get some information downrange, because you know what, that's it's something I've heard a lot of people talk about, especially the last like 3-4 years, COVID and everything. So that'll be an interesting topic.
Let's do it. Well, we'll end this here for this week, I suppose, unless you had any last requests.
No, that's good. We'll well, you know what, we'll do one thing here.
Okay.
We'll add some new slang to the repertoire here.
Yes. Oh wait, you know what I heard? Demure out.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Ouch.
We got to stay up. It's not mindful. Okay, folks, don't be demure. So this one's called Biblically Accurate, and it originates from art. Biblically accurate angels is what this is talking about, such as in Ezekiel and Revelation, with depictions of several sets of wings, multiple faces, and in some cases hundreds of eyes. So this phrase is now used to refer to anything characterized by an uncanny, alarming, and or horrifying appearance. Oh. So it's an adjective. Is that the word?
Yeah, to describe something that is accurate.
I made my mom a biblically accurate angel for our Christmas tree, but she yelled at me because it was too scary.
I could see a lot of uses for this.
Yeah, like I feel like if your kid's crying, like that ugly cry.
Okay, yeah.
That fake cry. And the royal you, not your children, because mine do it too. But that would be like biblically accurate. It's a biblically accurate cry you've got going on there.
So it's like a way of describing something as being accurate, just like
biblically
the
accurate.
level of accuracy is biblical.
Maybe I guess so. Yeah.
Which are they are measuring as a high level of accuracy, if I have understood correctly.
I understood it the other way, but I think it could be both. I understood it as like biblically accurate having a different meaning, as in it's like something else. It's something that's horrifying. So like picture, they always talk about fire and brimstone, like Old Testament anger and stuff like that. That's the biblically accurate. But then as I was thinking about it, I realized you're definitely right. It is biblically accurate, but it's because the Bible was a rough spot.
But I also see how it relates to things that are horrifying in nature. Because there's also some descriptors in the Bible about some horrific stuff.
Yeah, that
it could be referencing too. Interesting. So multiple use, perhaps?
I think so. But you know what? I'm just going to keep my ear to the ground. And if I hear more about it, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll start experimenting with it around the house, see what works, what doesn't. I said Skibbity and Skibbity, Ohio to William the other day, and he was like,
what did he say?
What? And then I said Skibbity, Ohio, and he goes, Dad, stop. Yeah, it's so funny. He's too young to even know what they mean. Brother? He just says them, yeah.
He just hears it on the playground, yeah. And that's how all these things begin, right? Somebody says it, other kids repeat it, and then suddenly it's language. So
that's the weirdest thing.
That's how we went from Shakespeare to now. Which is crazy.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's like been a positive change or a negative change.
I think it is.
Yeah. That's unfortunate. Almost feels like we're going back to like stick figure drawings, cave wall painting.
Devolving, so to speak.
Yeah. All right.
All right, thanks, friend. Yeah. Talk to you later.
Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah.